Welcome to the Marlene Saunders show, where we have real talk and real conversations, and you're welcome to it. Today on the show, we will be talking about don't let the mentally ill break your mental health. Welcome to the show. And of course, this is an open panel. Anybody who would like to come in and add to this is welcome to come up and add your thoughts to this discussion. Let me put this in the comment section. Welcome to everybody who's here. Please go ahead and hit that like button, and we will be right back after we put up my channel song.
Be encouraged, be inspired, be yourself, you will survive. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. We are back. We are back. We are back for another season after a much needed break. So today on the show, we're going to be talking about don't let the mentally ill break your mental health. And this is important because let's just get right into it and talk about mental health. So, mental health is going to include your emotional, psychological, and social well being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also determines how we handle stress. So, if you're not doing good in your mental health, you're not going to be doing good in many other things in your life. And I wanted to talk about this discussion because it's not mental illness and mental health is not subjects that people really like to talk about, but it's very important to talk about because it affects you. Even when you don't think it's affecting you, they're saying that there's so many people who are undiagnosed or misdiagnosed with mental illness. And I didn't even know until I did some research for this topic that there were four types of mental illness. Did you all know that? I knew about the bipolar, I knew about the schizophrenia, but I did not know that mental illness involved depression. I did not know mental illness involved anxiety. I did not know those two parts or those who have personality disorders. So there's many things that is involved in having a mental disorder. And these things they're real. So let's just talk about, clinical depression and all of these. I'm looking to see if I have any comments. No, not yet. Okay. So the depression, let's get into depression. A lot of people have clinical depression, and it's not something like a joke. I've heard so many times that people talk about depression, and then somebody, well meaning, they mean the best. When somebody is clinically depressed, it's not something that you can just get over. It's a mental health disorder. It's characterized by you having a persistent depressed mood or a loss of interest in activities, or it is causing you to be impaired that you don't even take care of yourself. That's a clinical depression. It's not like, from time to time you may get depressed about certain things happening in your life. That's normal. That's human. It's part of the human experience. But clinical depression, when this is your state of being for the most part, all the time, that's something that, I want you to do your checkups, go see a doctor, talk to somebody. That's the whole purpose of this discussion today. Anybody who is dealing with this, and this is another one that I didn't know that this was an issue and a problem. Anxiety disorder. This is a mental illness, health disorder, and it's characterized by feelings of worry. You worry, you're anxious, and you have fear about everything, and it affects your daily activities. So you're not able to do certain things that maybe the majority of the population is able to do and cope with. If you're struggling with extreme anxiety and it's stopping your life, we want to look into that. So let's go into bipolar disorder. It's a disorder that is associated with episodes of mood swings, ranging from depressive lows to manic highs. So, multiple personalities. Either you're really high and then you go really low. And then another one where we talk about the most usually identified one is schizophrenia. It's a disorder that affects a person's ability to think, feel, and behave clearly and correctly. Now, other mental disorders is OCD. These are the things I never really have thought about this being a mental illness, but it really can get to that because when a person has OCD, the excessive thoughts or obsessions, and it leads to they will wash their hands so many times. They will have to have everything perfectly. They can't be around uh, anybody who sneezes because it's not like a normal person. Maybe after you go out, you wash your clothes. They would have to wash their clothes 7, 8 times. It's the excessive amount. So I wanted to talk to you guys about, we just defined the mental illness. I want to get into the mental health aspects of this. So like we talked about earlier, the mental health was talking about the emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Hold on one second, guys. Oh, okay. It just passed. Yeah. The the emotional, psychological, the social well-being, it affects how we think, we feel, we act. Now, I'm talking about, don't let other people's mental illness affect your mental health. Mental health is so important. It's so important that we think about ourselves. And I know that some of us may come from a generation where we didn't really think about, ourselves. You were taught and you were raised to always do and be for everybody, but you never do and think and be for yourself. You never allow yourself to be present and to do good things for yourself and to take care of things that you need to do, like getting your doctor checks, having a hobby, having some fun, getting a hobby, having friends. All of these things are normal things for us to do as human beings, as women, as men. We got to think about our mental health. And all of these things contribute to us being okay. And if we are around people who have some mental illness, some mental disorders, and it's very easy when you have people, especially if it's people in your family, people on your job, all kinds of people that have these mental illness issues, it can disrupt your life because you're so busy taking care of them, being there and supporting them, that now it affects your mental health, that you are not thinking properly, that you're not maintaining, you're starting to worry, that you're allowing them to get you stressed out and worked up. And we can't do that for ourselves. We can't do that to ourselves. It's not a good thing. It's not something good that we should do to ourselves. We have to think about our own feelings, our own self. You got to understand how important you are in the grand scheme of things. Yes, it's important, Of course, love on your kids. Love, take care of, who you're in a relationship with. Make sure you're holding it down, your money situation. But also, you cannot let other people disrupt your mental health and happiness. You have to have a balance. And that means that you got to pull away from the people who are draining you, people who are causing you to maybe have toxic issues and toxic behaviors. One of the biggest and main things that I learned in going through therapy, that sometimes we have to let people go. And I know that it's easier said than done. It's not easy to let go of people. Hey, yo, it's Mike. Welcome. How are you doing? Happy Wednesday to you. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by, supporting. I would love to hear your comments in the comment section. I had to start thinking about myself because it was wrecking my well being. It was wrecking my stress level. We give and give and give to people in our life. You give to family members, you give to who you're in a relationship with, you give to your job. But at what cost is it? Are you allowing people who have these mental illness issues to take you away from you being okay? We got to think about ourselves and do the wellness check-ins on ourselves and say, am I okay? Am I good? Is everything okay with me? I'm doing good in yourself. Good. I'm doing really great over here. I just really wanted to cover this topic because it's something very important for me. And I hope this is something that is an important topic for you too as well. I just I just don't see people really talking about their mental health. People don't really think it's an issue with mental health until your mental health is on the line, until like you start having issues. Because I don't know if anybody has ever dealt with those who have some mental illness. It's very taxing and draining. If you have to always be there for them, and you have to be the voice of reason, especially if you're a caregiver to somebody who has some mental illness. You have to, yes, support them and love them, but you got to know when it's time to draw the line and say, okay, okay, that's enough. You have to have healthier barriers. You got to set up and say, I will give you up to this time, and then after that, now it's my time. We have to start talking about these conversations about mental health. What is important for us? What do you value? What is important to you? And if we don't define what is important to us, who is going to define that for you? You got to take control of your amount of stress, what you allow yourself to worry about. Because I'm telling you that a lot of times people who have these mental health issues, these mental illness issues, they're not thinking rationally. So you have to be the person to think rationally and say, now I've given you up to this, and now it's my time. You got to think about yourself, and that's not being selfish. For so many years, I gave and I gave and I gave to people who were in my own family who had mental illness. And it's really important that you support them and you love the people, that you need to be what you need to be for them, but also don't leave yourself out of this process. Don't leave yourself out of life, because you'll be so busy giving all your energy, your time, your effort, everything into supporting and loving them and giving them what they need. But at the end of the day, what are you giving to yourself? It's a very important thing to think about. Checking in on yourself, checking in on your well being, checking in on how am I coping with the stress? Am I allowing people who have these issues to take me down a dark path? Because if you don't check what other people are doing to you, you may be in the same boat as them. Have you ever heard people, like, if you're around people who have issues, you start having issues too? You got to make sure you're taking your time away. You're taking your breaks. You take your vacation. Make sure you're eating, taking care of your personal, your personal well-being, your all of the things that you need to do and be for you. Are you eating? Are you taking care of yourself? Because a lot of times when you're there supporting and loving and helping someone who has some mental illness issues, you turn around and neglect yourself. And that's not a good thing. It's not good to just completely put yourself on the back burner. I did that for so long. I put myself on the back burner for so many people. For so many people in my life, I'm there. I'm supporting you. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing that for you. And what can be so draining and pulling from you and can almost break your mental health is you keep doing for them and you don't get the thank yous. You don't get I appreciate you. It's they want more. They want more. Do more for me. And you're not doing enough. And how come if you do this, then why don't you do that? So you have to definitely set up some boundaries, some rules, some guidelines, and give to people in your life that have some mental illness. You have to give them some guidelines because if you don't set up boundaries, they are going to run you amok. They're going to drain and take everything from you until it will get to the point where you may be in the hospital. You may have to get hospitalized. You may have to get some treatment under a doctor's care. You're the person who may have to see a psychologist or a therapist or a counselor or somebody to help you with your mental health because they're draining and pulling from you. And you may feel like you are going crazy because you don't have anything to help you with your stress. We don't really hear people talk about this enough. I I'm taking care of somebody. I have a family member, a friend, somebody that I love, and they have a mental illness, but there's not a lot of support behind that. We always hear all the time the support from a person who has mental illness issues. Yes, support them, but also the people who are helping to take care of them, the people, if that's your family member, that's your friend, where is the support from us on the on the other side? Because while you give for others, you got to remember that you got to give back to yourself. And if you don't, you're going to start experiencing these breakdowns like what happened to me. You're going to get the headaches. You're going to start feeling you're going to be stressed. You're going to be worried. You're going to have to take some time off work. You may have to see a therapist, a psychologist, a counselor, a life coach, somebody to help you with your own mental health because they are draining you from everything inside of you because for the most part they can't help themselves. They can't help the mental issues that they have. That's why it's a mental illness that they have. It's a mental illness that they have. And I understand they can't control it, but you got to think about yourself. Don't let the mental illness that they have break your mental health. Never allow that to happen. See, we have to have boundaries. We have to have rules. You got to have some guidelines. This is what I'm willing to do for you, and this is how long I'm going to do this for you. Hey, the word. How you doing? Happy Wednesday. If you want to come up, you can. If you can, it's cool. I put the link in the chat. And welcome in everybody who is watching now live and those who will watch on the replay. For so long, I dealt with so many people in the family, on the job, friends. A lot of people, they have some mental illness issues, but I was just keep doing for them, just doing for them and supporting them and loving them. But also, they will cause you sometimes to make you feel like you're losing your mind, that you're going to have a breakdown, and you will. I almost had a breakdown. I was close to being hospitalized, running behind them, and it's like they keep asking, I want, I want, I want. Do this for me, do this for me. There's no gratitude there. Just it's just that expectation. Oh, and they can't help it, because of the mental blockages that they have, the psychological issues, all of the things. That's the reason why they have been diagnosed with these things. But also, you understand that part, helping and supporting them. But we have to also think about ourselves while we support and love other people who may have mental illness and issues. We got to think about our own mental health. How is your mental health doing? Are you doing okay? We don't really think about those things most of the time. We're so busy being there and supporting other people and loving other people and being there for them that we forget about ourselves in the process. We're so busy taking care of our families and trying to provide and do this and do that. And especially if you are a caregiver to someone who has mental illness, you don't have time to think about yourself a lot of times because you have to be fast on your feet. This is what this other person needs that I am in care of. And we have to start thinking about ourselves, because you can't be there for another person if you're empty, if you're hollow inside. If they drain you completely, you're going to be wind up in a mental hospital, getting, seeing a therapist because you have a breakdown. And it's not selfish to think about yourself. A lot of people, they are only thinking about, helping the friend, a family member, this person, that person, but they never turn it back on themselves. That's why I wanted to talk about this subject about mental health, because it encompasses everything: your emotions, the psychological part, your social well being. And I'm just going to tap into this part about mental health, about your social well being, because you may be so involved caring for those who have a mental illness that you don't even have a life. Life is still going to keep going, but you got to have some type of normalcy. You have to think about, okay, when's the last time I did something fun for myself? When's the last time I socialized and had fun with friends, pursued my hobby, hit the gym, whatever it is that you like to do? That's a part of your mental health, your well-being. You need to see other people other than the people that you take care of. It's not normal. And we sometimes will that's why we have the breakdowns. It's hard, but you're right. If you're not right, you can't be there for anyone. Yeah, and that was so difficult and hard for me. I felt like guilty almost that I have friends and family members who had some mental illness issues, and I was never thinking about myself. I felt like I was selfish. I felt like I was selfish thinking about myself, but it's not selfish to love yourself. It's not selfish to, think, okay, I need a break. I need to take some time away from them, you know? Hey, realist one, what's up? Welcome in. Yeah, it's your first time being here. Thank you so much for being here and supporting. I appreciate y'all coming through. I don't know if any of y'all have ever dealt with people, family members, and this is not to, no shade to the Black community, but in the Black community, we have a lot of mental illness, people who, really need a lot of help, but we don't really talk about it. We don't really want to highlight that in our community. But it's a lot of us that, you need help. And it's okay to say, I need help. I had to learn that. And it takes some humility to say, I need help. Either if it's you or it's a family member, by making that person get help, you're helping your own self. And I was so stressed out all the time because of a person that I know, they had a lot of mental illness issues, bipolar, schizophrenic, and they were just causing all kinds of problems, always starting stuff, fights and this and that, and getting into things and being combative. And it's really draining. It's really draining. It can drain your whole spirit and make you feel like you're the one crazy when they're causing you to feel this way because they need some help. A lot of people who have the mental illness issues, they won't take their medicine. They won't take their medicine. Yeah. They won't take their medicine. They won't take their medicine. So what you need that is going to help you and help your family so that they can maintain their own mental health, they won't take that medicine because of the side effects. But if they don't take it, they're going to cause you to have a breakdown. The word says, I'm dealing with some now on different levels, close and distance. I've learned that they can't be helped until they are ready to be helped. Exactly, the word. You know, you can't make anybody do anything. All you could do is lead somebody. You can lead somebody to the water, but it's up to them to drink. But on another level too, you got to also think about yourself. Like, what is the level? Like, when do you say enough is enough? Like, I've had enough, or you're draining, you're driving me crazy. Like, when do we get to that point? And people don't really talk about these conversations, but it's really important to me. Like, when I step back, like, from being a caregiver for people in my family that have these mental illness issues, I got to take sometimes a few hours, sometimes a few days away from them so that I can be okay, because dealing with them will cause you to catch a case. And I'm like, I'm not going to let y'all mess me up. I'm not going to let it happen. I need to take some time away from you. I need to make sure I'm taking care of myself too, eating and doing the things that I want to do, and pursuing my hobby, and going after, working and getting my money and taking care of the things that I need to do for me. And they don't understand because they want what they want for themselves, or they won't go get help when they and see and others see they need help. And that's a thing that irritates me too. I don't know if you have it in your family, but I have it in mine. And everybody in the family knows they need help. Nobody like has enough courage to speak up and say, you know, you're gonna need some help. And until you get help, I can't deal with you. You got to have those type of conversations, because if everybody just goes silent and acts like they don't need help or they don't need to take some medication, it's not only going to help them, it's going to help you too. And I understand that the word that, you can't help them unless they want to be helped. But at a certain point, you got to pull away from those who don't want to get helped, because they'll just be like, oh, do this for me, do this for me, do this for me, do this for me. And they're not trying to do nothing for you. They don't care about you. They're not checking on you. It's toxic. It's toxic and it's going to stress you out. It's going to worry you. It's going to make you feel like you're losing your mind. You may need to get some medication because your blood pressure now is high. That's what was happening to me. My blood pressure was like 215 over 90. Following after them, trying to do for them and make sure they're taking their medicine and doing what they need to do. It was causing me to get sick. And I was like, and this is not cool. That's not cool for me. Honestly, I can only do so much because of my own situation with my sight. And I got a baby and a toddler. So now I can only offer advice. I understand that. I understand that. That's understandable. That's only reasonable. Everybody, I believe, does the best that they can, but I just wanted to have this conversation because I think it's so important that especially in my minority communities, especially in the Black community, because a lot of times I can only speak as a Black woman that we see things in our community, we identify, we know what it is, we know what's going to help the person, but everyone goes silent on it, acts like there's an elephant in the room. There no there's something you need to talk about with a family member or a friend, but you don't talk about it with them, but you are letting them stress you out. They're actually driving you nuts, and you tell everybody in the world but the person who needs to hear the conversation, or help them to go, tell them you need to go seek this, give them cards to see a therapist, this person, that person. And I understand it's up to them to want to go forward and go see a therapist, go get medicine, go do this. Yes, that's up to them. But also on the flip side, you got to think about yourself. I'm not going to keep letting people drain me, take from me, stress me out, call me all types of times, 2, 3 in the morning because they ran out of whatever it is in their house and they want me to come at 3 in the morning and bring them stuff. I was like, no, you need to take your medicine because I'm not going to do that. So you got to learn to say no, and you got to cut off things because a lot of times we allow way more than we should, because the foolishness can't continue if you don't let the foolishness continue. And that was my issue. I had a hard time telling my family and my friends, no, no, I can't do this for you. You're going to have to get some help. You need to take your medicine. You need to do X, Y, and Z. We can only do the best that we can for our family, our friends, or whoever it is in your life. You can only be there for them to a certain extent. But at a certain point, where is the line? Where is the line that we draw and say, it's enough? You're toxic to me. And I've had people in my own family tell me that, oh, you can't cut them off and you can't not talk to them. You know how they are. You know that they need your help. And they kind of guilt you into making you feel like you always have to do everything for them. But also, I wouldn't have to do these things for you if you would take your medicine, if you would do what you're supposed to do. And they don't talk about that part. All of those things are swept under the rug. All of it is swept under the rug, and it's like they make you feel like they're trying to turn it around and make you feel like, oh, you're the one with the problem and not them. It is so important. I felt horrible because I know what I went through to overcome my own issues. I appreciate this talk is calming my spirit. I literally just came to this conclusion a month ago. Oh, that's awesome, the word. Yeah, I'm glad you came to the conclusion. And I'm not telling everybody what to do. And if you want to continuously do 100% for everybody, for those who have mental health issues, then that's your right. Then do your thing. But I'm just saying, as for me, I had to learn to stand up for myself. And it's one of those things that if you stand up for yourself as a woman, especially as a Black woman, it's like you're aggressive. It's like you're trying to do what you shouldn't. And people like trying to tell you like, oh, calm that down or don't say that. See, when you speak up for yourself and when you say what needs to be said or you say what's uncomfortable, most of the time people don't like that. Yes, I'm going to tell you, yeah, you need to take your medicine. No, you need to go see your therapist, or you need to stop doing X, Y, and Z, whatever it is, and you wouldn't have these problems. But people don't like that. Most of the time, people don't like when you confront them or when you call them out and you say, this is what it is. People don't like that stuff. They want you to hold it down, simmer it down. Oh, don't talk about that. Like you're supposed to walk on eggshells around certain people. Just because a person may have mental illness, it does not give you a pass to do wrong, to keep doing the same things. Like it's only so many times I'm going to tell somebody, you need to take your medicine. You need to see your doctor. It's time for your therapist visit. You need to go see your nurse. You need to change the dosage of your medicine. And if that's not working, then you need to find something else. But what happens a lot of time is they'll take their medicine, they'll get a side effect, they don't like the side effect, and then they stop. But then as a family member or a friend, you're getting the backlash of their erratic behavior because they refuse to take the medicine because of the side effects. So it's like you're getting both sides. It's like you can't win. If you speak up and you say you need to take your medicine, they're looking at you like you don't have the right to tell me that. But on the other side, they're stressing you out and worrying you, and it's going to affect your mental health. And I am, what I could say, I have a testimony of that. So much stress calling you all the time, calling you, do this for me, do this for me, do this for me. And it's never a time where they're ever satisfied. They never have gratitude and say, thank you for what you do for me. It's like if I do one thing, they want to know why I didn't do the other nine things. It's not thank you for doing the one thing. And it's about training too. Even if a person has mental illness, you can train people to treat you right. You can train people to not disrespect you. It's all about where you are in your awareness, who you are as a man, who you are as a woman, what you're going to allow. And I had to retrain my own mental processes and thinking ability and say, I was like, I have to start speaking up for myself and say, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I won't do. And these are the times I will do it, and stick to it. We have to stick to when we tell somebody, I'm not going to do something. Don't say, I'm not going to do it. And then if they say something and make you feel guilty, okay, I'll do it this one time. We got to speak up for ourselves and say no. And especially in the Black community, we have to have more conversations about mental illness because it's real, it's rampant out here. It's causing people to do lots of things. There's people, they need their medicine, they need to take their medicine, they need to see a therapist, they need to get diagnosed so that they can get the things that they really need. But the thing is that the majority of people who have a mental illness, they don't want to be labeled. They don't want to be diagnosed as bipolar, as schizophrenic, as having anxiety issues, as having, things like OCD or things like that. They don't want to have that label on them because frankly, they don't think that they have a problem, but they do. But what are you going to do as a person if it's affecting your mental health? Are you going to keep allowing people to treat you disrespectfully? I know a lot of times that they can't help themselves. They can't help themselves what they're doing. They can't help themselves because that's why they have the mental illness and they need to take the medicine. But at a certain point, you have to stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself. And that's something that it doesn't really happen in the community. They advocate for the person who needs help, the person who needs to take the medicine, the person who has the mental illness, but they really don't do anything for us on the other side, being caregivers or friends of somebody who has mental illness. We take lots of hits. You deal with a lot of disrespect, you know, lack of appreciation, no gratitude, you know, taking your stuff and stealing and in and out of jail, and it's draining. It's draining. It's so draining. And I just wanted to come and free some things from my mind about, I know I'm not the only one who is dealing with this issue, but I wanted to be bold enough to have this conversation and say, there's people who need help. And we have to learn to say, no, you need to get some help. You need to take your medicine. Or even sometimes it gets to the point where it's too much for you. And it's okay. You don't have to explain to somebody, I can't help you anymore. Your behavior is too toxic for me. We got to understand that it's okay. You don't have to always be there for other people. And we got to learn to choose ourselves sometime. We choose our friends, we choose our family members sometimes over our own well being, our own mental health. And that's not good. When I was talking to my therapist about that, and that's what she was telling me, you're choosing them over yourself. And while you can love other people, there's unhealthy, toxic love. And if your love for them is based on what you can do for them, mm-mm, that's not good. Yes, definitely in the Black community, all facts, the taboo factor needs to go. Yeah, nobody wants to say this person is schizophrenic. This person is bipolar. This person is OCD. This person has anxiety. This person has depression. They're all important. They're all important to get diagnosed with that so that you can get the help that you need. But most of the time, they don't want to go. Like you said earlier, the word, they don't want to go. They don't want to get the help. But you, as an individual, as a person, as a human being, you have the right to your well being. You have the right to get respect from people that you have in your life. That's your right. But you got to have the courage to speak up and say, I'm not going to allow your drama. I'm not going to allow, because you don't take your medicine, to stop me from my mental well-being, my emotional health, because you feel like you're going crazy sometimes dealing with them. And that's not good. It's not good for other people who have certain issues to make you feel like you're not okay. So I just want to give you guys some tips for improving your own mental well-being. You gotta relax and reduce your stress. And you can't relax or reduce your stress where when the person who is in your life is the stressor. So that means sometimes you got to remove yourself from the stressor, the person who has the mental illness issue, completely 100%. uh, walk away from them. And other times you got to reduce the amount of time that you're going to give to them. You got to learn to say no to them. You got to have your own life outside of your friends and your family. That's one thing I know, that's me 100%. I was giving all of me to them, and there was zero left for me. I was empty and hollow inside and stressed out, crying all the time. And that's not good. So you got to do something to relax and reduce your stress. The second point, spend time outside. You're taking care of people all the time indoors, but when's the last time you went outside, spent some time in nature, enjoyed yourself, get some fresh air? it's not good to be locked up in a house, especially with somebody who sometimes they play some mind games. They're working with you to try to do something to manipulate to get you to do what they want to do. So you got to be cognizant of that. You got to have point three, connect with others. That means you got to have some friends. You got to have a hobby. You got to have something that is outside. You got to connect with other people. And for me, that's why I love YouTube so much, because I can come on here and it's my springboard that I can get things I have in my head, my heart, the things that I see other people are doing, friends on the job. And that's why I do this on this podcast where I have real talk and real conversations. I'm not afraid to say people in the Black community need to get diagnosed. So a lot of them, are not diagnosed. A lot of them need to get some medication. They need to see a therapist. They need to work on themselves, but they're not willing to do it. But I had to stand up for myself and have enough courage to say, you need help, but it's not my job to make you take your medicine if you don't want to take it. But I also don't have to deal with you as well. Point number four, look after your physical health. Running after them, doing everything for them, you're not even taking care of yourself. When was the last time you went to your doctor, checked on how you're doing? Remember, you're a whole human being out here. Make sure to take care of yourself. And this is a big one that's going to improve your mental well-being, is getting enough sleep. And I can say for myself, I definitely was not getting enough sleep. When they're calling you, showing up at your house. Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? And they have you stressed and worried. But you gotta cut people off. You gotta have certain boundaries, because if you don't stand up for yourself and advocate, there's nobody who's going to do it for you. Absolutely nobody. And I mean that when I say that. I almost had a mental breakdown, like what you could call like a straight jacket, like just stressed me out so much that like I just had a breakdown, like crying, like they were taking me to an extreme limit. My blood pressure was so high, like you ever, like your blood pressure is so high that your head hurts all the time. And that's what was happening to me. Like my blood pressure, they said if my blood pressure went up any higher, I could have stroked out. That's not good. It's not good for anybody that is going to cause you and take you to that level. Nobody should take you to that level that will make you feel like you're going to break in your mental health because they have an issue. Nobody nobody should do that to you. Absolutely nobody should do that to you. And don't let other people do that to you. We have to stand up for ourselves, and we have to say this is not okay. I love myself enough to say enough is enough, and I'm not going to do this for you, and I'm not going to do that for you, and you need to take your medicine, and until you take your medicine, I can't deal with you. And I had to do that for a few people. There's a few that won't talk to me anymore, and I'm okay with it now because my stress level is down now. I can be chill. I can chill now because they won't talk to me because I spoke up and say, you need to take your medicine, or you need to go and see a doctor. You need to go get diagnosed. But they'll say, oh, it's nothing wrong with me. The ones that don't want to admit it to themselves. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm okay. But they're not okay. And they know they're not okay. But it's not your job to fix people. That's not your job. Your job is to be yourself, to love who you want to love, but also you deserve to be respected. And most of the time, people who have these mental illness issues, it's all about them. They don't care anything about you, absolutely nothing about you. Everything is about them and what they want and what they need. And they want more and more and more. And if you give them an inch, they want to take you a whole mile. So you got to learn when you got to cut them off and when you've had enough. Yeah. Yep, high blood pressure is so common in the Black community, but I never associated it to this until now. Definitely, I think this is a percentage why. I'm telling you, I've done a lot of thinking about this for a long time, way before I even started this podcast channel. I was thinking about it. I was like, and one day I was like, all the time I'm having a headache, I'm having a headache, I'm having a headache. And it was my blood pressure. It was my blood pressure. It's stressing me out like crazy, driving me absolutely nuts. And I had to make a decision. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Yeah, I had to learn that I had to either choose myself or I was going to wind up in the ground. And I said I wasn't ready to go yet. I wasn't ready to let go. I didn't want to die. And it was like when I was talking to my therapist, she was like, you're going to choose. Are you going to love them more than you love yourself, or are you going to choose yourself? And I say it all the time, what working in healthcare, you got to put your own oxygen mask on and save yourself. You can't you can't try to preserve other people before you preserve yourself. You got to think about yourself too. And when you realize that people are stressing you out like this, you're going to have to draw a line in the sand and say, I've had enough. And this is, this is, this is it. And I'm done. And there's a few in my family that, they won't do anything. They cause me high stress, high stress. And my blood pressure used to be over 200 all the time because calling me. I need, or telling me all the drama and the foolishness, from the decisions that they're making. And I just was like, this is enough. I can't deal with this anymore. And if I didn't, I wouldn't be here right now. I had to learn to, okay, Marlene, you're gonna have to chill or you're not gonna be here anymore. The word says undiagnosed mental illnesses is high in the Black community, on top of us trying to help family or ignoring it has to be top 5 reasons why we stress, and that leads to high blood pressure. Yeah, that's true. That's real. It's facts. It's all of those things. And I never have understood why we think in the Black community that ignoring something is going to make it go away. The more you ignore it, it's like it's screaming louder. It's more and more apparent. Just because you don't want to talk about something is not going to make it go away. Sometimes it enhances it and it makes it even worse. You got to have these conversations, like whoever it is, you need to take your medicine. You need to see a doctor. You need to do what you need to do. You need to change your medicine or whatever it is. But you can't keep calling me all the time with your drama and your foolishness. I had to draw I had to draw a line in the sand. I was like, either I'm going to choose them or it's going to take me out. And I made a decision that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to cut myself off for them from them because, I told them what they need to do. They're not willing to do it. They don't want to listen to what I have to say. They get all upset. You know how it goes. And who are you to tell me what I need to do? And I'm older than you and blah blah blah. No, y'all know how it goes. And I was like, well then, well, I don't want to hear about it anymore. Lose my number. Lose my number and don't call me anymore. You don't want to do anything to help yourself, but you're stressing me out and I can't allow it anymore. And the last time I went back to the doctor, my blood pressure is way better than it was before. I was like 200 and I think it was 207 over 90, and that's not good. And when I went back the last time, it was 120, 129 over, I think it was 74. I have it written down somewhere here, but I know it was something. It was nothing like what it was before. So the doctor was telling me, whatever you're doing, keep that up because that's what's going to save your life. So for me, cutting off certain people, stop taking phone calls, stop dealing with the drama, and also stop going around them that just because they invite you to things, you don't have to go. You don't have to. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do, but we sometimes feel like we have to do it because that's my family and that's my blood, and that's not healthy, and toxic behavior or conversation or whatever it is. None of it is healthy. So I'm so glad that I came to that conclusion and I'm still here because if I didn't make that decision to think about myself, my mental health, my emotional well-being, my physical health, I would not be here today because my doctor said if I keep up this behavior in a few months I'm going to stroke out and I won't be here. That's how stressed out I was. And I didn't understand that it was such a real thing that your mental health can be affected by people who have mental illness. So I had to choose myself. And anybody who is watching this now or on the replay, I encourage you to think about your situation, and to do what's best for you. I give the knowledge, I give the information, I share my story, I have the real talk, the real conversation, but at the end of the day, the ball is in your court. You have to make a decision to choose yourself, to love yourself, to pull away, to do everything that you need to do because at the end of the day, there is nobody that is more important than you. And I had to say, I choose me every day. And I hope you do the same. I hope this conversation has been encouraging to you. I hope you found out some new information, all of that. And to everybody who is new to this channel, I would love for you to subscribe to this channel, turn on your notification bell. I'm on the road to 600 subscribers. I would love for you to hit that bell. I go live every single week. I also have some videos that is coming up. I would love for those who want to have a real conversation about something. I have a on Saturday. No, it's next week. I changed it to the 13th. I'm going to have another interview with a content creator, and she's going to be sharing what happened to her in her life. Is Sharonda the goddess, and she's sharing. I had my first child at 14 years old, and that's going to be April the 13th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I welcome you to come to this premiere. It's a real conversation, and I really enjoyed that one. So I hope you'll be there to listen to that, and everybody else who is listening to me for the first time, if you're new here, if you would like to hop on and do a interview about a certain topic, just shoot me a IG message. I would love to hear from you, and we can get into making it happen. Thank you so much for watching. Let's see. Hey, Michael Carter show. I'm just about to hop off. Notifications on, putting the children to sleep. Definitely will hit the panel the next time. Awesome, the word. Thank you so much. Hey, Michael Carter show. Thanks for supporting. Appreciate y'all. I'm about to hop off here. Are you going live later on today? I'll put my IG in here. There we go. That's my IG. I just put it in the chat. Yeah, I just put it in. Thank you all so much for supporting. What time? What time, the word? What time? So I can make sure I support. Oh, you were just multitasking? Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all. I need lots and lots and lots of watch time. Lots of watch time. I just started this channel up in, let's see, I'll go right over to my about section. I started this channel October 13th last year. 12:20 a.m.? Is that Eastern time, Central time? I just want to know so I can set my notification bell, because I'm on Eastern time here in Florida. Just want to know, and I'll pull that up over here, put the link. Have you made your, I'm going to put that on in the chat for those who want to. Oh, this is your, I hit 300 subs, open panel. I'm going to copy this link and put it over here in my chat. So anybody who is watching on replay can check it out. And put it in here. There, I put it, the link. So that's the words live for his 300 open panel. Congratulations to you. I know how it is to grow over here on this side. So I'm going to set my bell notification. I'm going to hop off, spend some time with the fam. Appreciate y'all supporting. Thanks for coming through. And my next live on this channel is going to be, let me look. My next live is going to be on the 11th, April 11th, but I also will have a premiere coming up on the 13th. So I'll see y'all then. Thank you so much for stopping by, and welcome back to the new season on the Marlene Saunders Show, where I have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye, guys.
love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about you? I forgive me. I love me. I've been blessed that I have made it through. I'm stronger and worthy. I am enough now. What about